Yeah, morning again, morning again. Apologies for that break in the streaming. We had some technical issues and we were forced to restart. So share, share, share. Let people know that we are still on. It's not that we stopped. Just we encountered some technical issues, which we have now been able to rectify. So share the stream, so that people can know. I suspect if you were on before, maybe you might have been bounced off. So you have to just rejoin and be with us. So let me take this opportunity again to welcome you, give you some time to share the stream so that more persons can be on the live and be informed of what I am saying. When the stream ended a while ago, um, I was telling you that the last time we met 2 weeks ago, I spoke about the functioning of the Police Service Commission, and we did not get to finish. So I intend to continue with that this morning. So while we wait for more to join, while the stream is being shared, people just messaged me to say that they were cut off. So let's take some time and allow them to get back on the stream. Yeah, we spoke about the service commission, and I did not get to finish. So I'll continue that today. But before I go into that, usually you do some housekeeping and the like. Again, with deep sadness, that I want to announce the passing of certain members, former members of the force. And I would like to start by announcing the passing of Mr. Neville Denny. Many people did not know, but he was a member of the force. His regulation number was 6162. People know him from the Bank of Guyana, where he was the maintenance and security manager for a number of years. He was there from 1966 until he retired in 1993. So imagine that. And I'm saying this because he was buried last Saturday. I had the privilege of delivering the eulogy, and the reason I think why I was asked to do so, because we were very, very close. Started out in the Rifles Association, Guyana National Rifle Association. As a matter of fact, it was Mr. Denny who introduced me to rifle shooting back in 1977, 1978. He took me under his wings, taught me how to shoot rifle, taught me how to shoot pistol, made sure that my equipment, well, as a matter of fact, in the first years, I couldn't afford to buy equipment and all of that. And he provided the necessary equipment to me. So he died recently. I think it was on the 18th. He was buried last Saturday. And so sadly, the announcement of the passing of another stalwart from the force. I also want to announce the passing of woman, I think she retired as Sergeant 0747 Wilkinson. I last remember her serving at the police quartermaster store. Condolences to her husband and family and friends, her husband in particular, because he was a squaddy of mine. We both joined on the same day, and he was, I think, 95, 52. I'm 49, he's 52. So over the years, at least during the training, we were very close, and over the years, we maintained that relationship. And lastly, sadly, I want to again announce another passing. That is Lennox Chippy Graham. People will know Lennox around dominoes, in particular football. 9409 was my squaddy. Again, he was a squad mate of mine. 9409 was his number. And in reflecting, 9409 pass, 9410 passed Dick. 9411 was Henry Green, 9412 Harley Quinn. They have all passed. So condolences to Chippy's relatives, the grieving relatives, surviving relatives, and friends and family on Chippy's passing. I am hoping, and let's hope, that this is the last we have to be announcing the passing of former members of the force. But I think it is important that when these things happen, People are told, people are aware that it has occurred. Many, many years ago, I had a page that I operated when I was in the force, and those things were posted, transfers. We have an arbitrary page, and it was very, very. People found it very, very interesting because it kept them abreast of what is going on. Many times you serve and then you retire, and people don't remember things or remember persons. So when they hear that someone has passed or something has happened to someone, we appreciate that. We like to keep the fraternity informed of what is going on. So that is the announcement for that. And I just want to remind us that today is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the Lenten season. For those Christians who observe Lent, Lent is the beginning of this 40-day period of fasting. So whatever you decide to give up during the Lenten period, I wish you every success. And I hope that at the end of it, you will be properly rewarded. So today is Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, the beginning of this very holy season. Now, let me say this. Because the thing, you look at the papers today, you're going to hear, you're going to see that Slow is being sued. Come on, as the song, as we said earlier, don't worry about the thing. Everything is going to be all right. I have said before, and I'm repeating for emphasis, anything that I say on this program or elsewhere, I can substantiate, I can defend anything that I say. I'm not going to say things that I cannot defend. So if I look at anyone and I say that you're a thief, it's because I know I have evidence that you're a thief. If I look at you and I say you're a liar, because I have evidence that you are a liar. So understand it. So don't worry. Bob Marley gave us a nice introduction. Don't worry about a thing. Everything is going to be all right. But when I looked at it, when I looked at the lawsuit, some things came to mind. I remember old people, old people always have sayings. And old people say, ingratitude is worse than witchcraft. Remember that. Old people say, ingratitude is worse than witchcraft. Or somebody say, ingratitude worse than obia. Same thing. And a word came to mind also, and I think it's an Hindu word. People will know it. The word nimakaram. So the saying from the old people that ingratitude is worse than witchcraft came to mind. And the word nimakaram also sprung to mind when I looked at the lawsuit that is filed. But I'm not worried, and I am not going to be silenced. I'm going to continue to speak out and expose corruption and incompetence. As I say, them little boys that say, who vex lose. Who vex lose. And I am anxiously looking forward to the day where we can put up in court. And, well, I guess how the system go, I will have to prove that whatever is alleged that I said is in fact true. And, over the years, let me tell you this. People tell me up to, I think it was Sunday, met a taxi driver, and he was telling me that he learned so much from listening to me speaking out. And let me say this to you. I learned a long time ago that the defense against libel, slander, defamation, and those things is for you to prove that whatever is alleged to be libelous, whatever is alleged to be slanderous is true. That is the defense. That if somebody say you libel them, or you slander them, or you defame them, you, the onus will be on you. That is what I am advised, to prove that the things that you said were in fact true. So I'm waiting for the opportunity to be able to prove that whatever I allege, or it is alleged that I said, are true. And continuing from there, this is not the first effort, You see, people don't understand this thing. And let me recount, because I told someone recently that I will dedicate an entire episode to telling them who I am, because questions are being asked. Who is Paul Slow? I am going to dedicate an episode, because there's so much to say that an entire episode We'll have to be dedicated for that. But in terms of court action and lawsuits, not the force, I think the first court action brought against me was way back when Mrs. Jagan was the president. You know, I was there. I think I was commander A division or some in some one of those roles I was performing. You know, it wouldn't have been A division, somewhere traffic chief or something like that. And one of the persons who were on the road protesting and so on, he I think had 4 or 5 private criminal charges that I was insultive to him, I abusive to him, all true. And I won. The thing was did not go any place, right? And then don't forget that in 2003, again in front of the court, when an attempt was made to remove me out of the force, he went to court and slow one. In 2010, and this might be news to many, in 2010, when I retired, I got a lawsuit from the Attorney General. Sued me to say that during my farewell speech and an interview I did shortly after, I think it was in Starbrook News, I made comments on a matter that was before the court. And they claimed that because the matter was sub judice, I should not have commented, even though the legal people said that the comments I made were in order because they did not speak about the merit of the matter. I just said that I was disappointed that a certain course of action was taken. So I was sued for that. I'm not going to tell you all more about it because I get a lot of laugh in it. I was sued for that and I prevailed. I won. I won that. Then you will recall in 2020 or whenever it was, 2020, Karimba sued me and the members of the commission. He took action against us, court action, not necessarily sue, but he took court action against us. He lost. That matter is appeal, I understand. I don't know why his current position with it. You'll recall as well that Senior Superintendent Brutus took action against me and the commission on the 28th of June, 2021. The Chief Justice threw out that. And what you may not know is that in December of last year, again, I won. The Chief Justice, a matter went before an application, went before the Chief Justice for me to travel. The state, the Attorney General's chambers objected, and their objections were overruled. I was allowed to travel. I returned to Guyana. Last week again, only last week, Friday, they objected to another application for me to travel, and they lost. So this thing is not something new. I know they will continue to try to muzzle me, and they will continue to see how best they can shut me up. Remember, too, it was alleged. I received information a few months ago, which was publicized, that a source said that people approach people in the criminal underworld to shut up SLO. So it's an ongoing effort. It's an ongoing effort to shut SLO up. SLO will not be shut up. I will say the things that needs to be said. A lot of people are scared to say it. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I will say the things that are to be said. And as I've said before, when I say something, I have proof. I have evidence to back it up. And I made the point. I say, I have been saying, you see, I have my briefcase in the car and so on. They're going to come try to steal what they're in the car. And so, no, you're going to get you. Because in this age of technology and cloud storage and all of those type of things, they're all over the place. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. If you're making allegations, prove your allegations. Don't come for try for thief thing and no on stuff. So let me understand this clearly. Let me understand clearly. And I was very amused a few days ago, listening to a program in the morning when I heard about this big cuss out at police headquarters. Oh man, I laugh. And I laugh because of the breakdown in discipline that was displayed. I laugh because I feel when those things happen, more and more I am vindicated. I have been saying about the crisis in management. I've been talking about that, the senior management of the Ghana Police Force, and incidents like this confirms that there is indeed a crisis. Whether they want to deny it or not, there is a crisis. Can you imagine the allegation is a senior man talking to a sergeant And the sergeant big cuss out, don't talk to me so and so like that, right? I think what happened? According to the information circulating, is it was what old people say again. Old people say, "Thief from thief make God laugh." Old people say, "Thief from thief make God laugh." So apparently, the story that is circulating is that some money pay, some payback pay, and the junior man get the senior man the portion. And like the portion didn't right. The man discovered later on that he get shaft. So when the man give, that was the right thing. And they started cuss out. And the man then back down. The man didn't back down. And the senior man decided, well, look, you can have the man arrested. And another senior man remind me, say, hey, don't arrest the man. Guys, arrest the man might skin me up. If you arrest the man might skin me up. So I understand all I did was to transfer the man. I don't know if he has gone, but the man did not go immediately. The transfer was to take effect immediately. And I understand the man was defiant. The man decided he ain't going away. So I am saying these things, even though I laugh and we make joke after it, it's a serious, serious thing. When you have a senior officer at the command level of the Guyana Police Force in verbal confrontation with a much junior rank, and not to back down basically, because the only way you can back down is because perhaps the junior man know his story, and therefore he's afraid that the junior man, as they say, will skin you up. But this place is not a real place. God, it's not a real place. So you see these things. Big cuss out, and I am sure it didn't circulate yet, but I am sure that something like that somebody tape it. Because I understand that the thing was so loud that people started to peep out the office. And we know what goes on now. From the time somebody sees something, boop, cell phone, recording, Facebook, YouTube, and all. From the time someone sees something, TikTok and all these things, sometimes it's so disturbing because you have an accident occurred on the road, and before people run to render assistance, they hustle and they're recording. So I am almost certain that this cuss out that we're talking about get recorded somewhere. Awaiting. I can't just one of the comments of I said people get people's secret. It's true. Get your secret. You gotta shut your mouth. Stay in your corner. Don't come out your lane. You talking up to me when I know your story. Wait for it. Watch this space. Wait for more, man. But there's a sweet one this morning. On a more serious note, I saw in the news, I think it was yesterday or some days recently, that the policeman who was driving the vehicle that was involved in this high-speed chase is to be charged or was charged for causing death by dangerous driving. I mentioned it this morning not to celebrate the fact that the policeman was charged. It's a really sad incident. Two persons lost their life. The policeman was injured. The policeman is now charged. Lives are damaged. Lives are disrupted because of that. I say it because I had said before that the action taken was the incorrect action to chase after a vehicle in such a dangerous manner. But I also said that the powers that be should take it now as a learning experience, and they should make sure that there is an SOP. I know that there was an SOP dealing with that type of thing, and it was prohibited. Do not get involved in these high-speed chase. It is very, very dangerous. That was the SOP. I don't know what has happened over the years, but it would appear as though, even if it is there, it is not being observed. And I want to take this opportunity because I know they're listening. I know they're watching. Because when you see some of the things that they claim they're suing me over, as the news will tell you, is things that they claim that were said on this program. So they're watching. But they're watching with the wrong intention. They're watching to try to catch me saying something wrong to sue. I am saying you can also watch to make sure that you learn some of the lessons and you put systems in place. That should be a teaching lesson for all the ranks, to let them know that they should not. tell them what they should do in such a situation. When I occupied the office of Deputy Commissioner Operation and things happened like that, for example, when they were shooting incident at police station, I was responsible putting together SOPs to deal with that. So I know that the office of Deputy Commissioner, whoever occupies that office, Deputy Commissioner Operations, is tasked with the responsibility, because this is not a divisional issue, so you can say, well, the divisional commander should deal with it. This is an issue for the force. And once it's a force issue, it should be dealt with at force headquarters. So I am urging those persons to make sure to use this as a teaching opportunity. High-speed chase, fatal accident, 2 persons died. Now the policeman, and I sympathize with him because I suspect he got involved in that process through lack of training, he felt that the man is getting away, and instinct perhaps kicked in, and he felt that was the best response. It was not the best response. An officer, whoever you be, I don't know the person. I sympathize with you, but I say to the others, take this as a learning experience and do not get involved in that type of dangerous thing. Because I had mentioned before, it's not only danger to the members of the public and the vehicle, persons in the vehicle that you were chasing, but danger to you yourself. And you know, they say self-preservation is nature's first law. So even if you don't want to preserve the life and limb and health of the others, look after yourself. Self-preservation, nature's first law. So again, I sympathize with those who lost, the family of those who lost their life. And I'm saying this, I hope the policemen, not only those who are involved in that, but the other policemen, use that as a teaching experience and don't get involved in that type of dangerous activity. All right? Now, the next thing I want to talk about, I'm going to spend some time in this, is the police corporate communication unit. They're making some seriously tremendous blunders over the years. You know, I referred to them before as the propaganda unit. Maybe they will sue me for that too. Well, I mind. The evidence is there. They are doing, well, I can't really, they're going to ban me from Facebook and YouTube if I really say or express it in the manner that I really want to express it, right? But they're doing a bundle of nonsense. Or as a friend of mine would say, they're doing a scandal of bunt. Let me repeat that. A friend of mine would say, they're doing a scandal of bunt. Let me start with one of the first ones that I noted. There was a report in West Demerara of a rape. The release issued by this unit identified the division in which this report is made. They identified the fact that the victim is a 16-year-old schoolgirl. They identified all that in a release. And I wrote something on it on Facebook. I said, well, was there a need to identify the division? Was there a need to identify the fact that the victim is a 16-year-old schoolgirl? Given the fact that we live in a very close society, everybody knows everything. It won't take long for persons to realize and be able to identify who the victim was. And as I asked in the release, would it not have been just better to say that you're investigating a rape and say exactly, well, a report was made, but why identify the age? Why identify the fact that the victim is a schoolgirl? Why identify the fact that the incident occurred in a particular police division? What value did that bring to the release? But again, we're talking about incompetence, and I suspect that this is part of the old incompetence story. So there's one incident. Then there's the next one. I saw recently ammunition found at in Buxton. That is the headline, I think it was. And here, let me read a part what the release said. They said ranks from Regional Division 4C, led by a gazetted officer, conducted an intelligence-led operation in the vicinity of a gas station at Buxton, East Coast, Demerara. A search was carried out, and the ranks found 37 suspected 7.62 by 39 ammunition stashed in a cigarette box and a juice container. Again, why do you have to say that the operation was led by a gazetted officer? What is the significance of that? What is the significance of that? Except to narrow down who might have carried out the operation. What is it? The next part that I noted, well, the name, the thing, and it was suspected ammunition. Suspected ammunition is the first time I hear that in my long and illustrious, I may say, let me blow my own trumpet, in my long and illustrious career in the force and as a shooter, which has not ended incidentally, my career as a shooter has not ended, is the first time I hear that a suspected ammunition. What is suspected ammunition, bro? Can you please explain that to me? Is that a new caliber? Is that a new kind? Suspected ammunition found. 37 suspected ammunition found stashed in a cigarette box and a juice container. These people got to be joking. These people got to be joking. Why are you going about giving information that is not relevant to the release? Why are you doing that? Then yes, only yesterday again, and I'm going to read a part of this. The report says firearm and ammunition found at BV. And it says a Lance Corporal and a party of policemen from the East Coast Division Force again were on mobile patrol in Force vehicle PWW 5466, assisted by 2 ranks and motorcycle patrol numbered. The motorcycles numbers are stated. The cycle, the number, the registration number or numbers of the car and the motorcycle. What is the value of that? Why, when you're giving a release of an operation, you have to state the number of the police vehicle that was involved and the number of the motorcycles, and more than that, let me read what something what the things it says here. Bear with me a while, because you know, sir, they're looking to find me saying something wrong, and then they're gonna try to take me to task for it. Well, let me read certain part of it. They say ranks were attended to a report of stolen bicycle in the Bedford-Wacton village on the east coast of Demerara. I'm not highlighting it because I am from BV. Indeed, I am from BV, but I mean, highlighting it because of the structure of the release. He said during the operation, a 22-year unemployed male of Paul's Lane, Bedford-Wacton, was seen riding a bicycle that was positively identified by the victim as a stolen bicycle. He was arrested. I guess they're referring to the person who was riding it. He was arrested along with the stolen bicycle. So he and the bicycle arrested. They arrested the bicycle too. He was arrested along with the stolen bicycle and escorted to the Bedford-Wacton police station. At the time of his arrest, he was carrying a brown collar shoulder bag. On arrival at the station, he threw the bag away in the police compound, and same was recovered by a rank in his presence, where a .38 revolver containing 6 rounds of ammunition in chamber and 6 live rounds in the bag were found. This is carry-on story here, you know. This is carry-on story. So you have a situation here, and I know I saw comments sometime where people trying to defend. You have a situation here where the police stopped a man in BV because he had what was suspected to be a stolen bicycle. He had a bag. They're saying he had a bag. They took him to the station. In the compound of the station, he threw this bag away, and then they searched it and found a revolver with 6 rounds in the chamber. Well, it's a fancy revolver because I don't know revolvers have chambers. And I can say this with authority. People who know me know that firearm was and is my thing. Sir, whoever is writing this release, you should seek some proper guidance with these terms if you're not familiar with them. A revolver does not carry a chamber. Revolver has a cylinder, not a chamber. Chamber is for semi-automatic. Pistol and automatic, and revolver is not that. So that is one thing. But this man is taken to BV police station. He chose, according to them, he chose a bag away. And it's at that stage, they search his bag and find a revolver and I think 12 rounds total, 6 in the cylinder and 6 outside. Here we go again about training. Here we go again with training. Why that man, once you arrest a person, and this is the training, immediately the person should be charged, should be searched immediately. There was an incident some years ago, a sad incident at Sparndam police station where they did something similar. They arrested a man on the road, man by the name of I can't remember his name now, a known thief. They arrested him, Gun Youth. That was the man. They arrested Gun Youth, took Gun Youth into the station. No search was conducted on Gun Youth. Gun Youth then reached into his crotch, pulled out a pistol, and shot and killed Constable Aldridge. I knew his mother because she worked at Denhamsel police station when I was a commander there. Shot and killed Aldridge in the Sparndam police station, all because the search was not carried out. And here we are, many, many years after, we're back to the situation where a person is arrested, taken to the station, and at the station in the compound, you're discovering that this man had a revolver with 12 rounds. You know what could have happened there if this man had malintention? The man could have killed everybody in the patrol. The same person in this motor car, 5466, and the riders in the motorcycle, the man could have, obviously, he had the element of surprise on his side. Because nobody checked. All the man had to do reach and that. So, again, they need to learn from this whole exercise. They need to learn from the whole exercise. Well, that is it for that one, right? So again, those who are listening, the person occupying ops, it is obvious that the people who are doing the PR, the people who are doing the releases, don't have a clue. I don't even know if these things are vetted. It would appear as though you have civilians in charge and they are making releases without reference to people who are supposed to know. And even yesterday, yes, Tony, they talk about suspected ammunition. I never heard that term before. And the suspected ammunition. But remember, when suspected ammunition in the Boxer matter, but when they come to the BV matter that I just referred to, it wasn't suspected revolver. It was a revolver, and it wasn't suspected ammunition. It was .38 ammunition. So you see the consistency, you see the incompetence, and that is why I will continue to speak out. And I know that when the program done, there's review, and they say, well, yes, I think we make a mistake. I hope they correct themselves. I hope they take the opportunity to correct themselves. Last night and this morning, I was shocked to see another release from the Police Corporate Communication Unit. And this relates to the preliminary inquiry, the PI, that was conducted yesterday, or concluded yesterday, PI into the murder of the Henry boys, where I think 2 persons were committed to stand trial at the High Court because the magistrate found that there was sufficient evidence led at the preliminary inquiry for a judge and jury to decide. I invite you to look at the release made by the police. The entire statement, actually, of the main witness, the entire account of the main witness in this matter is given as a release. And one of the lawyers, well, I don't know if he's a lawyer representing the people, but I suspect he made some scathing remarks last evening, and he's correct. The man is upset because how can they give all of that information in a release? When this matter now will go to the High Court, where you have to empanel a jury, 12 persons, to hear this matter. Do they not know that by giving all of that details in the release, the first thing, a lot of people are going to read and they become tainted. Very difficult, perhaps, for them to be objective, because they don't see all the thing that is given in the court. Already see this thing. And what is disturbing, what is worrying to me, because I think it was Demerara Wave also carried the story, and they recognize, apparently they're saying that media operatives recognize the error in releasing all that information, pointed out to the police corporate communication unit that they might be violating the laws of Guyana by releasing all that information, and suggested to them that maybe they would want to pull the release. And they're saying that they were ignored. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? That the media operatives, people who are always anxious to get the scoop, anxious to get all the details in a matter, they saw the error. They saw that it should not have been released. The details should not have been released and communicated. That is according to them. They communicated this to the police corporate communication unit, and the corporate communication unit refused to either correct or to withdraw the release. That is the type of incompetence. That is why I will continue to speak out. And as I've gained Uvex lose, I will continue to speak out. And I will hope that the people who are responsible will pull them in and tell them that you can't do this. This is not the way it is done. And perhaps put in some mechanism to make sure that these things are properly reviewed before they go out. You know, we had police officers until now, used to be in charge of that unit, who were trained. Way back, you had people like, back in the day, Father Gilbert Harris and them. You had David Ramnarine, Ivla Whitaker, John Sayers, recently Royston Andrews Jr. Policemen who were trained on their regular salary. They did what was considered a far, far better job than these people who are brought in now, paid a lot of money, and this is what we get. This is what we get. So again, I'm urging the people who are responsible to have a serious review of the functioning of the police corporate communication unit. You cannot be giving out all this information in a release. You cannot. You cannot. And don't tell me because of the background in the media, they want to give more information to the colleague. In this last case that I mentioned, the colleague brought to their attention that what they're doing is wrong. You should not be giving all that information on a case that is now going before the judge and jury. So that is some of the things I want to tell you before it has taken almost half an hour. But I'm sure that you will recognize that it needed to be said. And nobody's going to say it. Paul Slow will say it. But those who are in the system, they're in a corner and whisper and sue. That's perhaps if they recognize that something wrong. Now that I've highlighted it, I suspect they will, if they get sense, I suspect many of them, the way they operate, many of them get sense. Talk about common sense, and then remember they say common sense is not very common. So if they get common sense, whatever is left, I think they will sit and decide that what they are releasing, they are giving too much information. Too much information. You can do a proper release without going in to all the details, especially in matters that are going to be under investigation and in matters that are before the court. And we know they are very selective in what they release and how they release it. Very selective, which is sad, which is very, very sad. So again, police corporate communication unit, put your house in order. Put your house in order. Before you're talking and you're going to run to ridicule me and to say all manner of things, put your house in order, and then is when people are going to respect you and people are going to respect or believe in the releases that you give and not see them as just propaganda. Because many of the things that you're saying, that is the feedback. People don't believe the releases that you are giving. And if you feel that by giving more information might improve the credibility of the release, you're wrong. You're wrong. It doesn't work that way. Now let me move on to today's subject. Remember we said we're going to continue to talk about the corruption and we're going to talk about problems of the Police Service Commission and all of that. I finished last week by telling you about I said last week, but you know what I mean. You know that we didn't have any program last week. We had the week before. On the last program, I told you about all of those who pass the cheese to get promotion, right? I gave a breakdown. 4 who are senior superintendent paid to get promoted to assistant commissioner. 2 who are superintendent get paid or pay to get promoted to superintendent. 3 from deputies who are deputy superintendent paid to get promoted to superintendent. 4 who are assistant superintendent are alleged to have paid to be promoted to deputy soup. 1 lance corporal get paid. He paid to be promoted to inspector. That is what an investigation found. They're gonna listen to me now again. They're gonna want to sue me again. What I'm saying, an investigation was conducted, and that is what the investigation found. That people were paying, they were taking the money to a certain place on the east bank of Demerara. That was the go-between. He would collect the money and he would take it to a certain place across the river, and that is how it went. And let me tell you this, folks, this why telling you was no secret. People in the force at the time knew of the arrangement. People knew. And if they're honest, and if they have any credibility, you pull them in, well, you don't not necessarily pull them in, they will tell you that it was an open secret of people who paid, and people boasted that, look, next promotion time, I got to make this because they passed the cheese. People were open and they boasted that they were going to be promoted because they had already paid to be promoted. And then the intervention of the government, and as I indicated, that was challenged. It went to court. The court ruled that it was wrong for the government to intervene, which, according to the Constitution, it was wrong. They shouldn't intervene in the manner that they did, right? So the court said it was wrong for them to intervene. So therefore, no promotion. The promotion did not come out. That was 2008, 2017. Promotion didn't come out. Body why was big story when money had to be paid back. The money had to be paid back. The laugh is one man threatened to lock up the man who received this money. And the man said, "Man, bear your chief." He sent it to him by one of these wire transfer agencies. He refunded the money by a wire transfer. And as I said last week, most of the people who are alleged to have paid for promotion are still in the system. They're still around. And I don't think they can find religion overnight. So they're still dishonest. They're still corrupt. They're still incompetent. They're still in the system. Those who are paying to be promoted. And let me say this, because even though the court correctly said it was wrong for the government to intervene as they did, a particular consultant, foreign consultant, looked at the thing, and he said even though it might have been improper for them to intervene in the manner, something had to be done to stop that. Something had to be done to stop the promotion of those persons who paid to be promoted. So we understand it. And as I've said too, and let me tell you something, this is what I'm saying again, cargo's there in places that they can't reach. So when they decide, well, look, we can carry you to court again, I go into court. You could come to court again to arrest me in the compound for going to court. You could summon me to court, and then when I turn up in court, you arrest me for going to court. You can do all of that. You have done it before, and I have no fear that you will not try to do it again. You did it once, and based on all the things I've said before, it is clear that some people are learning. So I would not be surprised if they try to do it again. But the man ain't running from nothing. The man is not running from a thing. The man will stand up and defend himself, because Paul Obadiah Slow, that is my father, did not raise a coward. Did not raise a coward. He raised someone who he thought to be fair, who he thought to stand up for his rights and the rights of others as well. So try something else. Try something else, right? So pay for play. Now, the thing is that with the Service Commission, people always emphasize one aspect of the work of the commission. That is the promotion. Because I sweeten, everybody get promotion, everybody happy. But as I indicated or sometime before, another important function of the commission is discipline. The commission, according to the Constitution, is the only body responsible for promoting and disciplining rank in the police force from inspector all the way up to assistant commissioner. But over the years, the part dealing with discipline wasn't given the attention that it should have been given. So you have a situation where you, the members of the public, will make a report against one who's an officer or an inspector. The report goes through a system and nothing happens. Nothing happens. And what happened? What that resulted in? You, the complainant, did not get justice, as you would say, or satisfaction. And the rank against whom the complaint was made, in many cases, did not get an opportunity to prove his innocence. So there are cases when we took over the Police Service Commission in 2018, the 9th of August 2018. There are dozens of cases dating back 4 or 5 years where complaints were made against inspectors right up to and officers. Complaint was sent to the Police Service Commission and nothing happened. And what is the consequence of that? The ranks against whom the complaint was made is sitting there, and every time, I know this, and anyone again, ask them, man, they will tell you. They sit there on it, they didn't do anything, but every time promotion come up, the administration of the force will write to say that this rank should not be considered for promotion because he or she has a pending disciplinary matters, pending for 3, 4, 5 years, long, even longer than that. There are cases longer than that. And the people are denied promotion and through no fault of theirs. In 2009, when I sat in the office of Deputy Commissioner Operations, well, I did a paper on it, call it a white paper, whatever you want, because it always bothered me that ranks are being denied promotion because of pending disciplinary matters when they are not responsible for the matter pending all the years the matter is pending. So I did a paper, I did a research, I did a paper. The Constitution allows the commission to delegate. When it comes to disciplinary matter, it says it can delegate to other members of the commission or to a police officer. So the paper that I did, it was recommended that in order to complete and expedite these matters, that the commission, the Police Service Commission, should delegate the authority, as stated in the Constitution, to a named police officer of the appropriate rank and all of that to investigate the allegation. Once the allegation is investigated, the Police Service Commission again can identify an officer or officers to form a disciplinary panel to inquire into the matter. I did that. Sent it through. Mr. Green was the commissioner at the time, and the commission agreed. The Police Service Commission agreed that they were going to adopt that recommendation, and they did. Now, I should add that before then, the commission made an attempt around 2014, 2015 to deal with these matters by employing retired Chief Magistrate Cecil Sullivan. They employed him at the commission to look into disciplinary matters. Now, it was found that that was unconstitutional because the Constitution says that disciplinary matters must be done with by the Police Service Commission, or they can delegate the authority to deal with them to one or more members of the Police Service Commission or to a member of the Guyana Police Force. And people said, and I believe if they were correct, that Mr. Sullivan was not a member of the Police Service Commission, nor was he a member of the police force, and therefore they could not or they should not have caused him to deal with disciplinary matters. So his arrangement came to an end. That arrangement came to an end. And the matters, well, police officers were given the authority to investigate and to present, as we say, you don't say prosecute, but to present and to conduct an inquiry. So that is what took place around that time. Now, what we discovered as well, and again, the records are there, that for some reason, the Ministry of Home Affairs became involved in police disciplinary matters against inspectors and officers. Friends, listeners, viewers, the Ministry of Home Affairs. So what happened when a report was made? Before the matter was referred to the Police Service Commission. It went to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And the minister and the PS would indicate, or the PS would indicate that the minister had no objection to the matter being dealt with by the Police Service Commission. So one of the first questions we asked when we formed the commission, where did that come from? Which law, which article in the Constitution gave the minister the power to say whether he agrees that a person should be disciplined or not, right? And we stopped it. The commission said that must not happen. We wrote to the commissioner and we said, look, let's follow the Constitution. If a complaint is made against a rank inspector to officer, please send it directly to the Police Service Commission and we will activate the process to have it investigated and depending on the findings of the investigation to take it to the other level. We did that. We wrote, send it directly to us because that too resulted in time being cut down. So they started to send the matters to the Police Service Commission directly. I went so far, I was instructed by the other members. I had several, two or three meetings with the police hierarchy to explain to them what is the process that this commission that I chaired would want to see implemented. And it was a process in keeping with the Constitution. Because we discovered once the matters were sent to us now, we discovered to our chagrin that Office of Professional Responsibility, a unit within the Guyana Police Force, staff with, at the time you had Makanlal, a retired assistant commissioner who was brought back into the force, and some junior ranks, constables and corporals, were investigating matters involving their superiors, the officers, and the law does not allow for that. The appropriate section in the Police Discipline Act, 1701, makes it clear that in order for you to investigate a disciplinary matter, you have to be of the rank of sergeant. And in any event, it says you have to be of a rank higher than the rank who is alleged to have committed the disciplinary breach. So if a sergeant committed a disciplinary breach, no sergeant can investigate. That's what the law says. It's not me, sir. I did not make the law. I just follow what the law was. You have to have an inspector or above. And I went and I pointed it out to them. And we said, let's make it clear. We're talking about investigations of a disciplinary breach. I pointed out all of these things, and I'm hoping that many of those who are listening now, especially the policemen, will understand. I made it clear. The commission made it clear. I made it clear on behalf of the commission that if it's a disciplinary breach reported, and let me understand this, sometime from the inception, you know that the report is of a disciplinary nature. Somebody came or somebody goes to the station and they're reporting something that amounts to neglect. Or you make a report and the person did not take action. There's nothing criminal about that in the phrase. It's a disciplinary breach. And the Police Disciplinary Act, or the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, tells you who can conduct the investigation. On the other hand, if the report is of a criminal offense, then anyone can investigate. I have said that before. I am repeating it for emphasis. If it's a criminal offense, let me say a superintendent or somebody senior box their wife, box their girlfriend, right? That is not in itself a disciplinary breach. That amounts to a report of a criminal offense, assault, or whatever it is, if it's wounding, and therefore anybody can investigate that. Over the years, you have some discipline and courtesy, depending. You might try to put somebody who's senior to the rank, but it's just a convention. You're not bounded by law to do that. Anyone can investigate. And I pointed out before, because if you were to say that that is not so, in essence, what you're saying that the commissioner of police is above the law, because in the hierarchy, in the structure of the Guyana police force and in most forces, the commissioner is the highest person. So if you're saying that if the commissioner commits a criminal offense, someone senior to him has to commit, has to investigate, and there's no one senior, in essence, in effect, you're saying that he's above the law. So that's not it. That is not it. If it's a criminal offense, anybody can investigate. But when it comes to discipline, the law says who can investigate a disciplinary breach. So understand this. This is something I lectured on from years. I have written several papers on it, and I have shared them because I have them. People have asked me, young officers have reached out, and I have given them copies of that. And I'm always willing to share. Now, so the matters are to be investigated, and in many cases, these matters were investigated by OPR. Somebody, in many, I should tell you too, that in some cases, a report is made and the investigation is done because the report might be bordering on criminality. And the Office of Professional Responsibility investigates. They send it on to the DPP for legal advice. And the DPP will advise, well, don't charge criminally. The matter should be dealt with departmentally. Now, at that stage, you have to then follow 1701. Because whereas in the beginning, it wasn't a disciplinary investigation, it was a criminal investigation. But the director of public prosecution might decide that the best way to deal with it is the departmental. They might recommend some charge, neglect of duty, let's say, or conduct to the prejudice of good order discipline. Or some charge might be recommended. At that stage, you have to make sure that you follow 1701, solve the pursuit breach of discipline notice and all that. And what we discovered is that when these reports, you said it, when the reports come for disciplinary action to be taken, the quality of the report, and here I'm not only talking about quality in terms of the content and the substance and but everything, the procedure, the language, it was atrocious. It was atrocious. We have seen report from a senior man that my co-accused referred to as a capitalist. And when we talk about capitalists here, we were not getting involved in politics. We were basically calling him out. He was calling him that because every couple word, whether it was a proper noun or not, whether it was a forced word in a sentence or not, had to be capitalized. So we call him the capitalist. And the quality of the reports that came to the commission left much to be desired. Not only, again, as said, because of the substance, but sometimes it is evident, it is clear that the investigating rank did not diligently conduct the investigation. They did a very superficial thing. In other words, they were trying to save the brother. They were trying to save the brother. And we saw those things. But being the people with the experience that we have, we were able to see through them. Many things were sent back and all of that. We sent it back to be corrected because questions were to be asked. In many cases, people send in report after doing an investigation and no recommendation. No recommendation. I learned in report writing when I was a young police coming up trying to climb the ladder. That once you write a report, you must make a recommendation. And they used to tell us that failing to make a recommendation shows weakness on the part of the investigator or on the part of the report writer. So the investigations weren't properly done. I want to comment, well, not comment, when I say report not properly done, there was something circulated on one of the news channel about a report that was done on Essequibo, where the people claim that from the report, that the man didn't even go to do the report. Man sit down somewhere, somebody write use something, man use a lot of phrase, misuse a lot of legal phrase and all sort of thing. But that is what you have. That is what you are. That is what you still have. And let me close by saying this. I'll address this further next week when we resume. Let me say this. When these reports are are done, as I've said, it is evident that no proper action is taken. And this is the point, it almost slipped me. I have evidence to show that when matters are reported and investigated, when matters are investigated by the DPP and by the Police Complaints Authority, and recommendations are made for disciplinary action is taken against those ranks. I say this without any fear of contradiction. In a large percentage of the cases, large, in the 90th percentile range, nothing happens. Nothing. So the Complaints Authority is going to investigate, and they make recommendation to the commissioner that disciplinary action should be taken. And remember, the Complaints Authority is a statutory body. And read the law, 1702. Nothing happens. The DPP will recommend disciplinary charges against ranks, and nothing happens. It is left right there. So it's that so bad the system is at the moment. And I don't have the confidence that the people who are there running the system now can rectify it, because I don't think they themselves have the knowledge. I don't think they have the desire to do so, to do that. So, folks, the situation, as Joe Braz would say, is chaotic. The situation is chaotic. I have not completed the Police Service Commission and disciplinary thing, but I think I've given you enough for today. The time, the 1 hour is up. I don't want to indulge you. I don't want to take away your time. So I think I will stop here. And as I will normally do, I just want to let you know that COVID is still around, despite all the sporting and all the things you see. COVID is still around. I want to urge you to continue to take the precautions. While the numbers may have reduced significantly, it is still there. And therefore, take all the necessary measures to protect yourselves, protect your relatives, protect your friends. And I close by saying, stay safe, and God's willing, we'll meet next week for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Bye.